Am I the asshole for kicking my brother-in-law out after he referred to himself as the father of my child? I know the title is a bit off, but let me explain. Me, 30F, and my wife, 29F, welcomed our son into this world a year ago. Both of our families are very accepting of us, but my wife's family has this weird obsession with passing on the family genes, which made adopting out of the question very early on. Me and my wife have always wanted to start a family, but things got difficult when my wife found out she was infertile. We knew her family would be understanding, but I am terrified of pregnancy. From what I have been told, I am almost physically identical to my bio-mom who died during childbirth, so that has led me to believe I wouldn't hold a pregnancy very well. After a few months of brainstorming and let down, Mill suggested that we do IVF, using my eggs and my BIL sperm, and let my wife carry the baby. I was skeptical at first but gave in because the plan hit all marks. Her family get their genes passed on, my wife and I get to start a family, and I don't have to carry the baby. We went through extensive counseling and therapy to make sure everyone was on the same page and could handle it. The procedure was a bit expensive, but my wife's grandma happily covered the cost since our baby would be the first of the new generation in their family. Everything went great. My wife loved being pregnant, aside from the morning sickness, and we were more than overjoyed to welcome our baby boy in the winter. The problem arose last week. We were preparing for my son's first birthday when brother-in-law made a comment about how he should get a say in the planning as the child's father. I was shocked. I cringed and told him that he wasn't, he just provided the sperm. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "Yeah, so he's our child." I looked to my wife whose mouth was wide open and Mill wasn't making eye contact. Before he could say anything else, I demanded that he get out of my house and that he'd be able to come to the party when he apologized. He got angry but left when my wife started to cry. My wife has always struggled with self-esteem and her infertility really took a toll on her. For months I had to constantly reassure her that she's an amazing mother and that she wasn't wrong. She faced a lot of homophobia and misogyny growing up. Sil called me later that day and called me a bitch. I argue that brother-in-law had no right saying any of that, but Sil just kept yelling. Me and my wife have cut all contact with her family. It's turned into something bigger than it needs to be, but I refuse to let someone call my family incomplete again. Call me dramatic, but I grew up with family in and out and never knowing who is real family, and I refuse to let the same happen to my son. Brother-in-law signed away his rights and verbally agreed multiple times that he's just an uncle. He's never had a problem until now, and it's kinda out of the blue. If he was starting to feel more of a connection to my son, then I'd understand if he calmly spoke to my wife and I instead of staking claim. I've reached out to brother-in-law a few times looking for a reason, but he has just thrown insults to my wife and I. My wife is devastated over losing contact, but neither of us want to forgive brother-in-law until he apologizes. So, am I the asshole? Edit. We don't know where Mill stands. She's expressed that brother-in-law was out of line but has also said that he is technically the father. Mill steps out once she senses any conflict. That's why she wasn't making any contact. Many people are going after my Mill, but she's been essentially on my wife and I's side. It's my Phil that wanted the genes to be passed on. Edit. Also, Sil is my wife's sister, not BIL's wife. BIL's wife isn't in close contact with us, so I'm not sure she even knows what's going on. Wow. Just wow. I'm inclined to believe that Mill has already had at least one conversation about this with your brother-in-law because she stayed silent. Now Sil is going drag you too? I cannot stress this enough. I hope you have your ducks in a row from a legal perspective because this sounds like a huge dumpster fire. I'm really sorry that you're both facing this situation, however. I hope you find comfort in knowing that you're facing it together. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. What an absolutely ridiculous and cruel thing to say. Your child will not have a father, but two wonderful moms, and that's okay. He doesn't get to be involved as a father, because he was a donor. That's all he is. A donor. He can be an uncle, but not a dad until he has his own children. Not the asshole. You need to speak with lawyers and the clinic where everything was done to verify that he is only seen as a donor with no rights over the child. While the child is biological from him, he gave over rights when he donated. It might be that he and Sil are stressed because they haven't gotten pregnant and in his mind he has a son out in the world. But his role is uncle and they do not get to have a say in how the child is raised or how birthdays get celebrated. If your wife did have issues with her family about being in a same-sex relationship, this might be their way of ensuring your son has a male role model in his life. But that again is a choice you and your wife make. Not the asshole. shocked with his attitude. But is it possible that he's struggling with all this? Having feelings about the experience? Or just being an asshole? Why would he be an asshole like that with her own sister? A horrible joke and, I'm terribly sorry, could happen. But assume he's the father of her sister's baby? Not the asshole. He is a sperm donor, not a father. But am I right in saying that your wife carried her biological niece? Am I understanding this wrong? Not the asshole. That's a boundary that should have been set up before anything moved forward though. Info. Was his relationship to the child not discussed prior to all of this? It should have been 100% discussed and clear to him that he would be no more than an uncle. Info. Did you consult an attorney before initiating this plan? If not, I would now. If brother-in-law is already trying to assert paternity, I'd go ahead and get that on the record so he can pay child support. Also, did you consult a therapist regarding the mental toll this will inevitably take on all parties involved? Please do, ASAP. You're going to need plenty of professional help navigating this minefield. Best of luck to you. Am I the asshole for not agreeing to work Christmas for coworkers with children? I've 23F. Been employed at my work for about a year now. I got hired on right after I graduated. Our holiday schedules switch each year, meaning employees are scheduled to work every other Christmas. I worked last Christmas, the 23rd, 24th, 25th and 26th, meaning this year I'm scheduled to be off for Christmas. I don't have children, but am very close with my family and so I was looking forward to not having to worry about work and spend Christmas time completely focused on them. Our Christmas schedule has come out, and this has led to annoyed parents of small children because they have to work Christmas this year. I was approached by a few coworkers about me working their Christmas shifts. Employees are able to do shift exchanges, meaning you can trade shifts, and they would work shifts of mine before Christmas. Everyone knows that my boyfriend and I, 25M, don't have children as of yet, so I tend to be one of the people that get asked the most for shift exchanges. I declined the coworkers that asked if I would work their Christmas this year, and I could tell there was annoyance about this. The thing is, if I agreed to work this Christmas I would almost definitely be working 3 Christmases in a row, because I doubt I would be able to find anyone to switch with me next year if I tried, as obviously Christmas is a time where no one willingly wants to work. I may not have kids but my family is very close, and my grandparents have medical problems so I try to enjoy every moment with them I can. I was also looking forward to not feeling exhausted during family time. Seeing the annoyance of coworkers when I declined made me feel both bad and frustrated. I understand that everyone obviously wants to be with their kids during Christmas, but I want to be with my family too. So I'm wondering, am I the asshole for saying no to working Christmas if I don't have kids? Edit. For those curious, yes, I do work in healthcare. Not the asshole. You worked it last year and your vacation plans are just as important as those with kids. You did your part and now it's someone else's turn. Not the asshole. I'm sorry, I have plans. Repeat as necessary, no further explanation is required. Not the asshole. I hate it when people with children pull this sort of thing. As if people without children have no life and family. Not the asshole. If you traded with one, everyone else would be annoyed that you chose that person as well. Not the asshole. Even if you don't have children, you are somebody's child and grandchild. Why are your parents less deserving of seeing their child on the holiday than your coworkers are? No is a complete answer, but if I were you I'd be tempted to really lay it on thick about the grandparents. Get teary-eyed, distracted. Then ask them, oh, I'm sorry. Just thinking about how it might be Grandma, Gramps last Christmas. What did you want to ask me, again? Not the asshole. I split some duties with one other person at one job. One of us had to work Christmas Eve, and one of us had to work at 8 a.m. on December 26. Fortunately, we were closed on Christmas Day. My coworker always got our supervisor to let her have the 2 days surrounding Christmas off, because of her children. For 3 years, I left work at 5 p.m. on Christmas Eve, drove 3 hours to my parents' house, spent what was left of Christmas Eve and most of Christmas Day with my family, and left at 4 p.m. to drive back to my house so I could be at work at 8 a.m. Then I discovered my coworkers' children were 30 and 35 years old. And I demanded the following Christmas off. Not the asshole. Cannot stand this. Children aren't everything. Child-free people are allowed to enjoy Xmas. Not the asshole. Your workplace schedules people to work every other Christmas, and that's fair for everyone. People with kids shouldn't get special treatment. It sucks, but welcome to life as an adult. You deserve to spend Xmas with your family just as much as any other employee. Am I the asshole for losing my shit at boyfriend for nagging me about tanning as a white girl? Edit. Update coming soon, you guys. Apparently he does prefer me white. I'm Greek, my boyfriend is Pakistani. This is an old debate that got brought up again tonight. Mediterranean region is blessed with sun. Especially during summer, us Greeks are inseparable from the sea and love the beautiful tan we get under the sun. I personally believe it elevates my hotness by 100x. So I love sunbathing, with all the appropriate sunscreens. I do the same in the US with that little sun I get. Did the same this summer. My boyfriend saw me the first time, said, "Why do you want to change your skin color? I don't understand white people tanning." I frowned upon the comment and explained to him that it's not a white people culturally appropriating bullshit. It was just something I grew up with. Even if I fit his idea of white people, the usual stereotypes, I would find it a bullshit comment to make, considering we all share the same sun to do whatever we want under it. He still continued to ask, "Why do you burn your skin?" I don't understand tanning. The second time he saw me sunbathing. The third time as well. Fourth and so on. I was mentioning today about how I miss my sun-kissed skin during winter and boyfriend started his monologue about burning my skin and not understanding tanning. I finally snapped and said, "Okay, what's your problem?" He said, "I'm just making conversation." I told him, "It's not conversation when you mention it 4 times, it's criticism. I've already answered you on why I like to tan." He called me dramatic and said he just doesn't understand me burning my white skin under the sun. I told him not to worry about the color of my skin and just let me enjoy what I do. He proceeded to say it's impossible to talk to me and I was being bitchy. Am I the asshole? Yeah, it's an Asian thing. It's especially prevalent amongst Indians and Pakistanis. There's a lot of colorism and an obsession with fair skin. The skin whitening industry is a significant chunk of Asian cosmetics. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend is Pakistan. Believe it or not, British left from there only 70+ years ago, but they did a real number on people in the region, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh etc. If you have fair skin you are considered beautiful. So, it is weird for people from that region to wrap their head around the fact that why would someone want to tan their white skin? Especially, when white people literally trashed them for their dark skin back then and all their life they were told the fairer your skin the more beautiful you are. I know it firsthand. Not the asshole, it's your skin, and I almost wonder if he is equating your lighter skin with like, a trophy or something based on your description. Colorism is huge in much of Asia, and he could have some skewed ideas around the hue of one's skin that he'd do well to examine. Not the asshole, but you're his white status girlfriend, so you are devaluing yourself by darkening your skin. In Pakistan lighter skin is higher status. Not sure about his motivation, but he is correct that all suntanning is damaging to skin. You'll pay for it when you are older with increased, deeper lining on your face and, leathery, skin. Down here at the bottom of the world, we pay for it with increased skin cancer too. No assholes here, there is no such thing as a healthy tan. Tanning is you skin cells and trauma. It's cooking you skin until it, well done. Doesn't matter whom it is if they want to discuss the topic of tanning with me, this is the only point I care about. It is like smoking, it's your body, your choice, but I have the right to think you are a fool to cause harm to yourself and call you out on it every time you do it, just like I would if you were smoking. You want to discuss his tanning and he is discussing. From his point of view it's pointless, bad, undesirable, so he has nothing nice to say about the subject. Not the asshole. As a Desi, sometimes even I don't understand why people love tanning. This might be because we come from a culture where if we get tanned, it makes us darker and that can affect marriage prospects, for both men and women, but mostly women bear the brunt. So from that sense it might seem strange to people who grew up in that environment to understand. While I do agree that constantly bringing it up is definitely not acceptable, but I think you should explain to him why you do it and what tanning means to you versus what he might think it means. Good luck, op. Coming from a very fair Australian who is terrified of the prospect of skin cancer, my first reaction was he was concerned about sun safety. I agree with the comments about having a discussion, the only way you'll have an answer. Am I the asshole for telling my aunt to flash those tits for a family group photo? Okay, so first, this is a throwaway account. Writing on a cell phone, English isn't my first language. Also want to say I don't think or feel I am the asshole here, but considering my mother's reaction I want it up for judgment. So background first. I am what you can call fat, working on it, but still a long way to go. I've always been large and I've always had what you call a baby face. It's something I've been bullied for growing up, so it's a sensitive topic in general. My aunt is an individual who likes to get her way. If she doesn't, she will push until it goes her way. She is also the kind of person who likes jokes on others' expense, but never her own. If someone would joke about her, she will be sulky or tell them off. I am not fond of her due to be a target of her many jokes over the years, mainly for being big. Now to the event itself. We were celebrating my grandmother's birthday this weekend, everyone vaccinated DW, and all my cousins, not her children, uncles, aunt and their spouses were there. My aunt was hosting. Everyone except my sister, who just last week had a baby. She had an infection, and with RS virus and COVID, she was still at the hospital and could not attend. Which is a shame because my nephew was the first great-grandchild. So it was decided we would send her a copy of our yearly family photo. When we were setting up the shoot, my aunt said she had planned something. She comes out with a big toddler cap and a pacifier, saying that I should wear it and use the pacifier, sitting in the front, as a fun gesture to my sister. I was pretty horrified and said, "No way." My aunt just replied, "Yes you will, it will be fun." When I said no a second time, this time with emphasis, she raised her voice saying, "Don't be difficult op, come on, put it on." My mother just sighed and said to just indulge her, knowing my aunt will push until I do. Well, here is the thing, I don't know what I was thinking, but I said, "Okay, I'll do it if you go topless and pretend to breastfeed me." Everyone went quiet. My aunt's eyes went wide and just said, "Excuse me," in a very offended tone. I followed up with a "Come on, flash those tits." And all hell broke loose, my cousins giggling, my mother and aunt stood choking with their mouths open. My aunt's husband shouted out, "What the fuck did you just said to my wife? Get the FCK out of my house." More than happy to comply, I took my car keys and left, accidentally leaving my parents to a $60 cab bill, since I was their lift. When my mom and that came home, my mum was furious and said she had never been more embarrassed and I needed to apologize, which I just shook my head at, saying she deserved it emo. She grounded me, not that she can since I am 18 plus, and have not spoken to me since. My aunt also kicked me out of our WhatsApp group and Facebook group. So I need outside perspective on things. So there you have it. Am I the asshole for telling my aunt to flash her tits? It's okay for us to humiliate you. But if you try a comeback, you're a monster. Not the asshole. Weird thing to say, but fuck it, they were never going to respect you anyway. Not the asshole. That was the funniest thing I have ever heard. Not the asshole. Was going to say otherwise, but damn, did your aunt need to be smacked down. And they got hit with karma by being saddled with the cab fare. Good job. High five. Thumbs up. Not the asshole. That's awesome. She can go kick rocks along with your mother for thinking that her treatment is okay. Tell your mom to grow a backbone and maybe actually defend their kid instead of letting her sister walk over everyone. I was fully prepared to call you the asshole based on the title, but after reading about what actually happened, I'm going with a big and #X200B. Not the asshole. And #X200B. Don't dish it out if you can't take it. If you're old enough to drive, a pacifier in your mouth should have never been requested by any adult. And #X200B. And now they're trying to shun you into feeling bad? Hell no. And why is your mom okay with her behavior but not yours? Conditioning or something? Insane. Don't back down. This is the only way they'll learn that making you the butt of their jokes may not work so well anymore. Your comment was vulgar, but it was incredibly wrong of her to insist on demeaning you, and I would be having a conversation with your mother about how it seems as if she values keeping the peace with her brat of a sister over your sense of dignity and self-respect. Gonna go with with the caveat that your assholery is somewhat justified. What you did was petty op. And I like petty, not the asshole. Not the asshole. This is funny as hell. If she can't take a joke, she shouldn't dish them.